One of my goals for this year was to learn how to do Tunisian crochet, and the time has finally come. I am very frightened and intimidated to do this project, but honestly I'm really excited. I love learning something new. I love learning a new skill, particularly when it comes to crochet, and I love just kind of like diversifying what I can do when it comes to crocheting. So I've done a little bit of research. I've looked into the different types of Tunisian crochet stitches, and for me personally, my main thing is that I don't want to be buying new tools or new things in order for me to do Tunisian crochet. So I have found a stitch pattern that you don't need a new hook. You can just use a regular crochet hook for this type of stitch pattern, and I am honestly really excited. I think it looks really cool. I think it looks really unique, and I've seen kind of knitting versions of this type of pattern, but I've never seen it in crochet, and I've never seen it in Tunisian crochet. So I'm honestly really excited the fact that I'm able to create this, hopefully, let's say. Also, hello, if you don't know me, my name is Rajan, aka Not Half Bad Crochet, and if you like crochet vlogs, project videos, tutorials, that sort of thing, anything to do with crochet really, feel free to give me a little subscribe and maybe drop me a like on this video, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. So in terms of the colour palette, I'm going with quite a funky colour palette this time around, and you're probably thinking that these colours don't seem to go very well together, but I think they look really good. And honestly, I mean, look at me, I very clearly love a bright and funky colour palette, so this is actually going to be perfect for me. And when I was choosing these colours, I feel like they are going to fit in my wardrobe so well, because for me personally, where I crochet wearables, I like to crochet stuff that's practical, and I like to make sure that the wearables that I'm crocheting are also practical and are easy for me to implement into my wardrobe. I'm just trying to be a little bit mindful about the things that I create and how I actually utilise them. So with all of my projects, I've been kind of thinking more about the practicality behind them, whether I'll actually be able to use them and whether I can implement them easily into my already existing wardrobe without feeling the need to kind of like buy something new or get something that will go with this one specific item. But here's a little close-up of the color palette. We have this very luminous neon green, we have a very bright kind of neon pink, we have a very royal blue, which I absolutely love, and then we have this kind of berry purpley sort of shade, and I think they go so well together. Definitely more on the unique side, but I actually love that. And if anyone wants to know what the yarn is, it is from the Wool Factory. It's their Next Gen DK, which is a 100% recycled fibre. They are all acrylic, so it's 85% acrylic and then 15% recycled polyester, and these are 100 gram skeins, and I have 8 in total, so I have 2 of each colour, which usually is enough for me to make a whole sweater. I can't imagine I'm gonna need more. Apparently Tunisian crochet calls for less yarn, so I'm hoping that that is actually the case. Either way, I'm sure I can pick up some more. Hopefully I can pick up some more. I actually haven't checked the Wool Factory's website in a little while. I have used this exact yarn before in a different colorway for my Uzma Kappa sweater. So if you saw my vlog about me crocheting my Uzma Kappa tapestry sweater, I used this yarn in a bunch of different colors, and as much as I enjoyed working with it, it's not my favorite yarn. I think usually with acrylic, I'm used to kind of more of a plush, softer texture acrylic. I think maybe due to the fact that this is a recycled fibre, it's a little bit kind of firmer, it's a little bit stiffer in that sense. Not to say it's not good for wearables. I think my Uzma Kappa sweater is very comfortable, it feels very nice on my skin, it's not kind of scratchy, but I do feel like it's a little bit, maybe a bit more structured, let's say, and I feel like it reminds me more of a cotton. So if you are more of a kind of, you like your plush sort of acrylic textures, I don't think this is going to be good for you for wearables. I think this would be amazing for amigurumi and maybe like bags and stuff that needs to be a little bit more structured. But again, like I said, I do still enjoy the yarn, and it's also really affordable. So the POA is I'm gonna go cake up this yarn. I'm gonna do like a test swatch of the stitch pattern that I want to do, mainly to obviously practice it because I've never done Tunisian crochet before, and then secondly just to see what the colors look like worked up in that stitch and to make sure I'm using the right hook size, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I think once I've done that, I'm gonna kind of figure out a gauge, I guess. So I want to do like a test swatch first and then do a gauge swatch. I don't want to do a test and gauge swatch at the same time because I don't want to be I'm just gonna leave that on the floor. But I don't want to be like kind of concentrating too much on the measurement side of things when I actually just want to practice the Tunisian crochet side of things, considering I've never done it before. So test swatch first, get used to the Tunisian crochet, and then redo it again as like a gauge swatch to figure out my measurements, and then from there I'm actually gonna start it. I am very intimidated, I am very frightened, but I think I got it. I think I'll be fine. It's just trying something new can be very intimidating sometimes, but ultimately quite fun. Have a test swatch. It looks so good. It looks so fun. It's basically this kind of like diamond shaped pattern with obviously Tunisian crochet. This is what the color palette looks like all together, and I think it looks so good. Here is what the back looks like, and it's a really interesting way of doing the kind of pattern, the like tessellating it together, because you're basically connecting the yarn and then going back over the stitches that you've done. It's a really interesting technique, and the Tunisian crochet side of things I actually found really simple. Honestly, it's really fun. I wasn't expecting to enjoy the actual process so much. I think where obviously you have so many loops on your hook, it feels quite nice to kind of like yarn over, go through one, yarn over, go through one, yarn over, go through. It's quite a nice repetitive movement, but it wasn't boring. I think where obviously I was only doing it for like, you know, one square or one like half square or triangle, I found it quite enjoyable to do. So I feel like when I'm actually doing the entire sweater, it's gonna have like a really nice flow to it, but without me getting bored of doing the same thing over and over again. I'm really pleased with the actual Tunisian crochet part. I personally think I've nailed it, and I love the texture. It almost looks like woven or like quilted. It just looks really cool. This in a sweater is gonna be so fun, and especially in this color palette. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to this now. Not that I wasn't before, but you know, it was just a little bit intimidating, and I think now that I've done the Tunisian crochet part and I'm like, okay, it's achievable, I can do it. It's looking so good. I'm really impressed. So now the plan is I'm gonna frog this, and then I'm gonna do my gauge swatch, because I only obviously did like the minimum amount of chains that I could do to be able to do the stitch pattern. I'll do some maths, I guess, which I hate doing. I hate doing maths. It's like the worst part of crocheting. And then I can actually start the crocheting. Okay, I have made a start, and it is going so well. It looks really good, and doing the Tunisian crochet aspect of it is so fun. I'm really thoroughly enjoying myself. I feel like the way that you kind of have all of the yarn on the hook and then kind of like pass through each loop is really fun. It's really rhythmic, but it's not boring. Like, it's repetitive, but it's not boring. I'm getting stimulated enough by it, but it's not too complex that I'm like, I can't watch TV or I can't multitask or talk to my partner, whatever. So it's kind of pretty perfect, you know. My only concern is that I don't know if I'm gonna have enough yarn. So I got a total of 800 grams of yarn, 2 of each color in obviously 4 colors. And I was told that Tunisian crochet uses less yarn. All of the tutorials I've watched and all of the kind of research I've done, people have said it uses more yarn. So I'm unsure what to actually believe, but from the kind of few rows that I've done so far, the amount that I've used up of each color, I don't think I'm gonna have enough yarn to make an entire sweater out of this, which is fine. I have actually been looking at the Wool Factory's website to see if they have these colors in stock, which they don't, annoyingly. I think they only have maybe 1 or 2 of them, but I ideally want to have each color be equal throughout the entire sweater. I don't want it to be more heavy on one color than the other. So I was having a look at the colors that they have, and they have this really nice kind of vibrant blue. It's a really nice kind of aqua blue. It looks really lovely. It's also a really nice lilac color. This is the lilac. I also think this looks really nice, and it would go really well with the color palette. There's also this orange, which I think could look cool, but I also feel like it could completely throw off the colors, if that makes sense. So this is the orange. It's a very bright orange. It's called Rust, but it definitely looks brighter. So I think orange with this color palette might be a bit much, and I am favoring the light blue and the lilac a little bit more. So So I think I'm gonna get 2 skeins of each of those, and then I can kind of continue working on this. And ideally I want it to just be like a full rotation of all of the colors. If I'm going to be incorporating these new colors, I think I'll wait until I receive them, and then I can continue on with either the lilac or the blue and then start rotating again. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm okay with this. Obviously I know I've said like I don't want to buy any more yarn, and I do have yarn that I could use and put towards this, but I think because this is such a uniquely feeling yarn like, I don't really want to throw in another type of texture in this project because I know it's going to feel different, and that would bother me. And as well, this yarn is super affordable, so I think I'll be spending like £6, which is fine, and obviously I'm not going to order anything I don't need, so I'm okay with it. I'm not like, you know, super strict on myself on like I mustn't buy yarn, but if it's for a project that I'm working on that I know I'm going to use, I don't see it as a problem. But yeah, it's going really well. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself, and it's so interesting as well because I don't know if you're watching this, if you know much about Tunisian crochet, but where you insert your hook is actually through this side loop rather than inserting your hook through the top of the loop, whether it's the front or the back. You're inserting your hook through the side, which is so interesting because obviously it creates like a really fun and unique texture, but it also means that the way the fabric, or the way obviously the way you're crocheting is completely different, but it's just really fun. And here's what the back is looking like as well, and the back looks really cool. I think this is kind of what the pearl side looks like when you're knitting, or that's what I've been told anyway. Love learning a new skill. Yeah, I'm really having a lot of fun. Okay, so I ordered the additional yarn that I needed. I just did it. I was so brave. I just ordered it. Usually I would ponder and I would think about it for ages, and I would probably have continued on with the project until I realized that I needed more yarn. But I just did it. I just ordered it. So I ordered 2 skeins of the blue and 2 skeins of the lilac. Yesterday was Thursday. I ordered it Thursday evening, so it's probably not going to come until like maybe Monday or Tuesday, which is kind of a little bit annoying because I would have liked to crochet and work on this project over the weekend, but that is fine. The other thing I realized is that the other kind of part that I made is too small. I think I did do the gauge correctly, and my partner helped me with the math side of things, which was technically correct. I just don't think I measured my body correctly because I was doing it whilst I was sat down, and I didn't do it very kind of technically. I think I just got the measurement incorrect. I have started again, which is fine, and then I was going to continue with the other colors in the kind of order that I've done already, but I think incorporating the 2 new colors, I kind of want to wait until I get them to see what order I want the colors to be in, because obviously it's going to be kind of on a rotation. I was going to continue. I don't think I'm going to because yeah, I want to potentially mix up the order of the colors. So I think I'm going to take a pause, which is a little bit annoying because I have a whole day today where I could be crocheting. I could be crocheting on the weekend, but it's okay. The yarn will arrive when it arrives, and I do have another project that I can be working on. So I did just start off better fitting one with just the first color, which does actually fit me a lot better and a lot more comfortably. And then now as well, I don't have to be as kind of like frugal with the yarn, because I think before I was like not sure if I'll have enough yarn, so I was kind of like, it'll be fine, you know. I was like, I can block it, it'll be okay. It's okay if I have to make it cropped. It was okay if I have to make it a little bit tighter than I want to. So now I think I've ordered more yarn. I have a little bit more freedom with the fit, which is obviously my preference. So yeah, that's the update, and I suppose I will check back in when the yarn arrives. The new yarn has arrived. So obviously I went for the blue and the purple, the lilac color, and this looks like such a fun color palette. I have already started. Got this yesterday. I was working, and then I wanted to work on the actual project in the evening, so this is the update you're getting, okay? Oh my gosh, it looks so good. It looks so good. It looks so fun. I'm really pleased. I'm actually very obsessed. Are you fucking kidding me? Sorry, okay, here's a little close-up. These colors are so fun. It's funny because I was like laying them all out on the bed trying to figure out what order I wanted to do the colors, and my partner was like, oh, because I was like, oh, what order do you think I should do them in? And then he basically put all of the like pinks and purples together and then put all the blues and greens together, and I was like, I actually purposely don't want that. Although obviously I know they're all gonna be in one piece, and so they're all gonna kind of be with each other anyway, I do feel like the order is important in terms of the tone and the overall tone of the entire sweater. But imagine, this is gonna be the fucking coolest, funnest sweater in the whole entire world. I am obsessed. This color palette is so fun. The stitch looks so good. I love the texture. Ah! I love it so much. I love it so much. I can actually get cracking now. So this is obviously all 6 colours, so I can kind of see how the colours sit with each other. We are getting a little bit of curling, but that is pretty normal with Tunisian crochet apparently, so I'm not particularly worried about that. I have also decided to do a video pattern for this sweater, so it will be linked in the description, and I'm trying to come up with like fun punny names. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna go with. Obviously you will know this by the time this video comes out. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I was really debating on whether to do a pattern or a video pattern for this sweater, because obviously this is my first ever Tunisian crochet project, and part of me was like, oh, I don't feel like qualified to kind of do a pattern or a video pattern because, you know, I don't know much about Tunisian crochet. But if there's one thing about me, I'm gonna do a deep dive about any new thing that I learn, whether it's a new craft, a new stitch, a new technique, whatever. I am going to find out as much as possible about the thing that I'm doing, because I just think that's fun. That's like part of the process for me to do the craft or do the thing. So I have learned a lot about Tunisian crochet outside of kind of just doing this stitch pattern. I think I'm very confident in this stitch pattern. It took me not long to pick it up, so I feel very confident in doing it. I feel confident in being able to turn this into a sweater as well. I'm not following a pattern, I'm freehanding it. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. If you don't think I'm qualified enough to do a Tunisian crochet sweater pattern, that is entirely your prerogative. That is okay, and you don't have to get the pattern if that's the case. But I think it's going to be a really good pattern. It's going to be very beginner friendly, particularly if you are like me and this is your first Tunisian crochet project or introduction to Tunisian crochet. I think I'm going to make it very easy to understand. So yeah, that's my little spiel over. But yeah, it's going really well. I'm really pleased. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so here is a little update on how it's going. This color palette, so fucking fun. I am obsessed with this color palette. This just feels so me, like all the bright colors, the mix of the neons with the pastels, the kind of darker shades. I am obsessed with this. I think this is going to be such a fun sweater to style, and I feel like I have so many clothes in my wardrobe that are going to look so fucking cool with this sweater. And I realized what the stitch texture reminds me of. It reminds me of Shreddy's cereal. So if you're in the UK, there's a cereal called Shreddy's, and it's kind of like it's like wheat. I will put up a picture somewhere to show you, but it's like little wheat squares, and they kind of look like this. If you're in America, I think there's a cereal called Chex or something like that. I'll try and also find a picture, and that's what this reminds me of. But it looks so fun. It's kind of like slightly woven. Yeah, it's really cool, and it reminds me of Shreddy's. So I think this is really fun. It's going really well. I think in terms of like where I kind of want the sweater to sit, I'm feeling a cropped sweater, because I am going to be blocking it, so it is going to stretch out a little bit. But I think if I aim for a cropped piece, and if it blocks out a little bit longer than cropped, then I'm also okay with that. I don't have too much longer to go to finish this panel, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make this the back panel or the front panel. I haven't quite decided yet. I do need to do the kind of row at the bottom to flatten out the bottom of it, and then obviously I will do the same for whenever I reach the top of it. Each color is technically like one row, so it feels like the rows take a long time, which they do take longer than like a normal row, but then you're technically doing like I think 5 or 6 rows at once. I'm going to continue, and I will check back in soon. So there's actually no evidence that Tunisian crochet originated in Tunisia, and so when I was kind of like looking into like why is it called Tunisian crochet, is because where it was seen or believed to be founded in Britain and Germany, or Europe in general, but specifically Britain and Germany, they basically wanted to give it like an exotic name so that it would be more appealing, because at the time places in the African continent were seen as exotic and kind of like, you know, faraway lands and like fantasy world sort of thing. So that's why they called it Tunisian crochet, because they wanted it to seem more exciting than it was, which is, I think personally, a little bit odd, but not unexpected, especially from England, considering their history. But it is very interesting that they decided to call it that, because I think calling it, you know, anything else would have still been quite interesting, because the stitch itself, the technique itself is fun. It is new, you know, it was new at the time because it obviously combined the knitting and crochet aspect together. I don't know, I feel like they just didn't need to call it Tunisian crochet. crochet to make it seem more fun and interesting. There's also a bunch of other names. There's one I think called the railway stitch, one also called the idiot stitch, and apparently that's because it was like really repetitive and quite easy. So it was like a repetitive rhythmic sort of thing, so that was why it was called the idiot stitch, which is kind of shady, but like, you know, I don't disagree. It is repetitive and it is quite simple, I think. But yeah, those are the kind of things that I've learned about Tunisian crochet so far, and about like its history and stuff, which I found quite interesting and I thought I'd share. Okay, we have a great update. I have just finished the back panel for the sweater and it looks so good. Like these colors from a distance look awesome, and then obviously close up just looks so good. So cool. I'm fucking obsessed. This is the back panel. Obviously it looks quite short, but I am going to be blocking it, so it's going to be a cropped sweater, I've decided. Can't lie, I'm still a little bit concerned about the amount of yarn that I'm using. I think that this has used up probably a little bit more yarn than I usually would for a front panel, back panel, whatever. I don't think it's used up a ton more, so I'm hoping that I'm going to have enough. And so basically what I've done is that I've done it like the kind of length that I would want if I wanted a cropped sweater, obviously kind of accounting for the stretching from blocking. And so I've done it like this for now. I'm going to do the front panel the same height. And the good thing about this is that because you're starting with one of the diamond shapes rather than one of the kind of straighter edges, is that if I do have more yarn left over and I realise that I can make it a little bit longer, I can just undo this bottom blue row and then add more of the diamond kind of pattern to make it longer. So I don't think it's like the end of the world if I need to do that. I do like the length of it cropped, but I think I would ultimately prefer it being a little bit longer and just kind of like sitting at my waist, or at my hip, sorry. So yeah, that's the game plan, and I think obviously it will be a bit easier for me to assess how much yarn I have left once I've done the front panel and once I've done the sleeves as well. But yeah, today I'm going to be continuing on with the front panel, and I think it's going really, really well so far. The best thing for me is that you don't need any like additional equipment. You can just use a normal regular crochet hook, which is perfect for me because I don't want to be buying more stuff. I don't want to accumulate more tools, and I think this is going to be really good for people who want to try Tunisian crochet but also feel the same, and they don't want to deal with not only learning a new skill but also having to learn how to use new tools. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do today, and I will keep you posted. Okay, here is a little update. So I finished my front panel, I finished my back panel. They are now connected and it's looking so good. I did make a start on my sleeve already, but I kind of wanted to make sure that I was able to film the tutorial part for the neckline, and then obviously connecting the pieces together, and then how to like take your measurements and stuff for the sleeve. So I've started on one of the sleeves. I think I'm maybe like 3 or 4 rows in, but yeah, it's looking really, really good. I think in terms of the height of the piece, like the length of it, obviously like I mentioned, I am blocking it, so it is going to sit a little bit lower and I will have a little bit of ribbing. So this is quite good for a cropped length, which is fine by me. Okay, so the back panel and the front panel are now done, and I've joined them and I did my neckline and everything, but it's going really, really well. I'm thoroughly enjoying the process still. I love the color palette and I love the fact that I can kind of put it on my body and see how it looks like on me, and it looks really good, so I'm very pleased. The video pattern is also going really, really well. I do need to kind of double check the footage because when I was filming the part for the neckline, the sun was going down a little bit, so I'm not sure if some of the parts are maybe a little bit dark or like the lighting isn't that great. And because it was a really nice sunny day, a bunch of my neighbors were outside, so I don't know if you can hear them kind of talking, and they're kids as well, so they're not exactly going to be quiet, which is fine. It's not a bad thing, but yeah, so I don't know if you can kind of hear them chatting and laughing outside on the tutorial, so I need to double check that. Okay, sleeve number 1 is officially done. I just need to add on the kind of straight row for the end. With my front and my back panel, I think I've made the neckline a little bit too tight. Like even kind of as I put it over my head, I was like, that's a bit more fitted than I would like. And then obviously I've got ribbing to add, so it's only gonna kind of get shorter. I have assessed the yarn. Everything is fine. I don't know why I thought that I would run out of yarn. I actually honestly think that I would have been okay with like my 4 original colors. So I don't know why I was kind of getting a bit worried, maybe a bit of scarcity mentality there from me, but hey, I'm working on it. Yarn wise, I am absolutely fine. I am going to detach my front and my back panels, and I'm just going to make my panels longer. So I'm probably going to go from the top of it, so where I've kind of done my straight row here, I'll just undo that last dark blue row, and then I'll just make the panels longer. And I think I can make them the length that I want them to be, so that I have a kind of like normal length sweater, so that it kind of sits on my hips with the ribbing. So that is music to my ears. I'm really glad that I'll be able to kind of get the fit more so towards what I wanted. And then with the sleeves, what I've done is that I have done them probably, I haven't done them small, but I've done them smaller than I usually would have, where the sleeves like fit me, they go around my arm, but they're a little bit more on the fitted side. So it's not tight, but it's more fitted. So because I am going to be blocking it, this does have like quite a decent amount of stretch to it widthways. So I am more than fine to kind of account for the extra space with my arms, because I don't like tight sleeves. I tend to find them quite overstimulating. So I like to have a nice loose baggy sleeve, and I still think I'll be able to achieve that because there is quite a good amount of stretch, both vertically actually as well. That's my update, and I'm really glad that I'm going to be able to make it like the height that I want it to be. Okay, I have amended my back panel, and it is just a lot longer, but like not, I wouldn't even say excessively so. It's just now sits a little bit more comfortably on my actual waist, so that when I add the ribbing and then once I block it, it will probably sit just a little bit past my waist and just like on my hips, which is my ideal sizing for this sweater. It looks really cool. I'm so glad that I kind of had some sense and was able to acknowledge that I definitely had enough yarn and I was just freaking out for no reason. And now I'm going to amend my front panel, and then I can make my second sleeve. I did start my chain for my sleeve, and then I think I got like maybe 2 squares in or 2 diamonds in. I basically had a root canal procedure yesterday, and I was trying to like keep myself busy, but I was just so fucking tired. Like I was literally exhausted, and I was honestly just forcing myself to stay awake. I don't know if you've seen on TikTok, because it's Ramadan at the moment, but there's loads of people posting like their cats as they are awake to break their fast, and the cats being really confused and being really sleepy, and the cats are just there like with their eyes barely open, and they're like, why are we here? And they're like really confused. They look like little old men. That was basically what I was like yesterday, because I was so fucking tired, and my partner literally had to like force me to get into bed. But I was like, it's 9 o'clock, I can't possibly go to sleep now. Anyway, whatever. I was really brave and I went to bed. So that's where we're at. Sleeve number 1 done, back panel officially done. Gonna fix the front panel, then it's sleeve number 2, then we're gonna assemble, and then it's ribbing time, and then it's blocking and then weaving in ends time. God, there's quite a bit left. I really feel like I've been taking ages with this project. I think because where I've had to obviously stop to like film, and it's quite in-depth stuff, especially with the fact it's Tunisian crochet, but I'm having to obviously show stuff in quite a lot more detail, so I'm not spending as much time crocheting as I would like to and what I would usually be doing. But it's fine. But I'm very much like, spring is approaching, I want to put this on my body, I want to wear it whilst it's kind of still like sweater weather, you know. So yeah, that's how it's going. It's going well. And also I spent a bunch of time editing the pattern, the video pattern for this. It is really good, I've got to say. It's some of my best work. I've gone into a lot of detail, but like in a good way, and I think that especially if you're new to Tunisian crochet, you'll be totally fine with this video pattern. I kind of explain everything in, I think, a very helpful way that means you're going to be able to like pick up the stitch very quickly. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling positive about the tutorial. I'm feeling positive about the sweater, and I shall continue. Okay, so I've made quite a good amount of progress on sleeve number 2. I'm hoping to kind of get this finished. Oh, this colour kind of matches my top. I'm hoping to get this finished by the end of today, because I don't have too much more to go. I think I've got like 1 more rotation of all of the colours and then like a little bit more, so I reckon I could do it by the end of today. And then I really want to get the piece constructed. Ironically, the weather is actually really nice at the moment. It's a beautiful sunny spring day. It's t-shirt weather, you know. I'm literally in a t-shirt and I'm fine. The windows are all open, so I'm hoping I actually get to wear it because it's quite warm and I won't be wearing a sweater when it's warm. So I hope the weather cools down. I don't know, a part of me is like, oh, I hope the weather cools down so I can wear my sweater, but part of me is like actually enjoying this really nice weather. Personally, I love it when it's like sunny but it's still like, it's sweater weather. I love sweater weather. That's my perfect and ideal kind of weather. So I really hope that maybe the temperature cools down a little bit. We still have some nice sunshine outside. That's my ideal. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, it's going really well. I'm just going to continue working on on my sleeve and then hopefully get the construction done today or tomorrow. Currently working on sleeve number 2, but sleeve number 1 is done and attached. I've attached it to my front and my back panel and it's looking really good. I did throw it over my body just to double check the fit and the length and stuff, and it's so good. It looks so fun. I literally look like a clown, but like, I mean that as a positive thing. I don't mean that as derogatory in any way. I look like a clown and I fucking love it. These colors are so fun. Look how good it looks. I'm obsessed. I love it so fucking much. I'm aiming to finish this sleeve by the end of today, and it's like 5 o'clock now, so that is completely achievable. Oh yeah, completely achievable. I've only got like three more blocks of color to go, and then hopefully as well I can join it to the rest of my panel, and then I can start on my ribbing, and then the ribbing basically means it's done. I think seeing it come together is really kind of making me excited to finish it because I'm very close. And I'm really glad as well that I adjusted my neckline, because before it was just sitting too high, and so the fact that I made the panels longer meant that I could just do the neckline bit. I didn't have to like frog all the way down to the neckline. I just had to frog that one row and then carry on going higher, so that worked out really well for me. But yeah, it's going really good. I can't wait to get this finished, and I am just gonna continue working on my sleeve, and then I'll keep you posted. Get the fuck out of here. This looks so good. So I've connected my first sleeve and I'm just working on the ribbing. I do think that my sleeve might be a tiny bit too long. So what I'm thinking, I haven't made a huge amount of progress on my ribbing, but I'm thinking of, because obviously I'm blocking it as well, and I don't want, as much as I don't mind having like longer sleeves, because obviously I'll usually have a tight ribbing to kind of account for it. I don't want it to be like hanging off, and I don't want it to kind of get too bunchy around here. I don't mind if it is a little bit. So I'm thinking of maybe frogging to have the kind of aqua color be my last row and then do the ribbing from there, because I think once I block it, it's gonna sit kind of like with the ribbing, it will sit like on my palm, which I don't mind if that happens, but whilst I've kind of noticed it, I'm thinking I might as well just deal with it now. I think it's really fun. It looks so good. In terms of the fit as well, I did kind of just grab this side and connect it, and it feels very comfortable. It doesn't feel tight or anything, and obviously with a block as well, it will just kind of relax up all those fibers. And the length is also perfect with a few centimeters of ribbing at the end. This is going to be so good. It's going fucking well. I'm really thoroughly enjoying myself, and I think it looks so cool. Big news, folks. It's finished. It's finished. It looks so fucking good. So I finished off the ribbing on the sleeves and joined everything, ribbing on the bottom, ribbing on the neckline, and it looks so good. I'm so pleased with how this has turned out, and I feel like the colors are so complementary to each other. Obviously they are very like, you know, wacky and zany, and I think the best thing about this is that you can choose any color palette. Like, this is gonna look so fun in like a monochromatic look, like different shades of pink, different shades of blue, even like some neutral colors, like all like browny beigey kind of shades will look really cool. And honestly, I think this would look really fun in all one color. I was talking to my partner about it, and he's not really a fan of like striped things. Like, for himself, he doesn't personally think that they look good on him, which is, I disagree, but that's his opinion. So he was like, I love the texture of it, and he was like, it looks really cool. Because I was like, oh, I'll crochet you one, and he was like, well, I don't really like the idea of the stripes. And I was like, I can do it all in one color, but I actually think the texture of the stitch would look so nice in all one color. I think that would look really fun. So I'm kind of debating making one for him, maybe like closer to the end of the year, like as a Christmas gift sort of thing. That would also look really cool. So yeah, let me do a little try on, and then I'm gonna go block it, and then afterwards I will weave in the ends. I personally prefer weaving in the ends afterwards, backwards, because I find obviously when you're blocking stuff, you're kind of stretching it into shape to like manipulate it a little bit. And personally, if there's like a weaved end like in the way, then it's kind of blocking it from being blocked, if that makes sense. So this is personal preference, but I prefer doing it after I blocked it. Here it is. It looks so fucking fun. I am obsessed. I look like a clown, but like in the best way. It's giving Jester vibes. The Clown Jewels is the perfect name for it. So shout out to my follower who suggested that name, because I could not have thought of that on my own. This is the perfect, most perfect name. I love it so much. So in terms of blocking, I don't really want to make a huge amount of adjustments. I just kind of want to stretch out the length a little bit, stretch out the width a tiniest bit. Like it fits really nicely now, to be fair. I just want it to feel a little bit more relaxed. So tiny bit on the length, a little bit on the width, and then a little bit on the sleeves as well. They're not short by any means, but I personally would like the ribbing to kind of sit a little bit closer to the end of my wrist, and then also just stretch out the width of the sleeve ever so slightly, because it's not tight, but I personally do prefer a slightly looser and baggier sleeve, although this is nice. These are the kind of edits that I want to make. Here is the before, and here's what the back looks like as well. There's the back. So yeah, I'm gonna go block it. Let's hope for the best, and then I'll do a trial once it's blocked. Okay, she is soaking, and I'm gonna go prep my table with my blocking mats and stuff. I really need to invest in a bigger bucket, because this capsizes every time I put a full sweater in it. But yeah, it's looking good. Also, shout out to people who are like, oh, just put your thing in the sink. My sink is not big enough for a whole sweater, so there's that. It is on the blocking mat. It's looking really good. There was a little bit of dye run out, which I was a tiny bit worried about, because obviously there are some lighter colors on here, but it all looks fine. I don't think the dye run affected any of the other lighter colors, but it looks really, really good. I have jerry-rigged some cardboard onto the end there because my pieces are too big for my blocking mats. I really do need to invest in more blocking mats and then some actual blocking pins, because I just use like the little kind of embroidery pins, and whilst they're fine, it just does take me ages to pin everything into place, but it works for now, so it will suffice. But yeah, it's blocking, and I will check back in a few days when it's dry. Shut the hell up. Oh my god, I love it so much. Oh. Oh, I love it so much. It's turned out so good. It is fresh off the blocking mat, and I spent some time weaving in the ends yesterday, and it looks so good. I feel like with the blocking, it hasn't completely drastically kind of changed the shaping or anything, but it has just relaxed everything and loosened up the fibers a little bit, which is kind of exactly what I wanted, because I feel like with Tunisian crochet, everything does kind of feel a little bit more constricted. Yeah, I think it's like relaxed a lot nicer. My sleeves sit a little bit more comfortably now, and like it kind of sits a little bit more comfortably like on my hips. It doesn't feel as kind of like fitted on my bust. So this is the perfect fit. I absolutely love how this has turned out. I'm so pleased. Here's a look at the back. I love it. This has been such a fun project to crochet. I have genuinely really enjoyed the process, and I love the fact that I have learned like a new skill, and I feel very confident in Tunisian crochet now that I may try and dabble with other types of Tunisian crochet. Maybe if I can find like more stitches where you don't need a specialized Tunisian crochet hook, or like the cabled crochet hooks that you can get as well. And I love the fact that I could just use my regular crochet hooks, and I didn't have to buy any new equipment or try and learn how to use something new, especially on top of like learning how to use a new crochet technique. But overall, I've had a really good time crocheting this. Like, I am very glad that I decided to add in those 2 additional colors. I think I would have run out of yarn, and in total I used 848 grams of yarn, which is pretty average for me. I typically use anything between like 700 to 800 grams of yarn, so I think it used a little bit more than average, but not by a huge amount. And I definitely would have run out of yarn if I only stuck with my 4 colors. And remember, if you want to crochet your very own clown jewel sweater, there is a link to a video pattern in the description. And the way the video pattern works is that you will receive a PDF with all of the information you need on it, all the tools you need, all the information about the pattern itself, like the need to know stuff. And then there will be a link to a private YouTube video where it will have all of the tutorial part on how to make this sweater, including what measurements to take, how to measure your body, a gauge swatch, a sample swatch, that sort of thing. So that's how the video pattern PDF is set up. And yeah, if you would like it, the link is in the description, and I would love to see your versions as well. So if you do, please remember to tag me, because I know that you guys are going to create some really fun colour palettes with this sweater. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me whilst I crocheted the clown jewel sweater. I had a lot of fun. Let me know what you think in the comments, and of course give this video a little like if you enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe to my channel and check out some of my previous videos. I have a lot of other process videos and crochet day vlogs that you can check out. And I would also love to connect with you guys. If you're not following me already, you can find my @ in the description below, but my @ is @NotHalfBadCrochet. And please remember to tag me if you do make your own clown jewel sweater. I love seeing you guys make my patterns. It is so fun. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I will hopefully see you on the next video.